Jamie Bennett had never been the kind of person to overshare online. He barely posted on social media, never left comments, and hated group chats with the quiet fury of 1,000 sighs. So when his therapist gently suggested he try connecting with people in a low-pressure environment, Jamie nodded and then promptly forgot about it. Until that Thursday night. It was raining softly, the kind of rain that filled the silence but didn't demand an umbrella. Jamie sat curled on the edge of his couch, half wrapped in a worn hoodie, his laptop open to the news, his heart quietly aching for reasons he couldn't name. Loneliness didn't roar anymore. It just hummed like static. Somewhere between opening and closing 6 apps in a row, he downloaded Hearth, a mental wellness app that promised friendly conversations, not therapy. The interface was simple. Anonymous profiles, no photos, just words and moods. He made a username, Starry-Eyed 87, because his usual ones were taken, and scrolled through chatroom titles. Late night listeners. Talk about anything. No pressure. No judgment. He hesitated, then joined. The chat window blinked, empty. A single message popped up. MidnightInk. You're new. Welcome to the club of sleepless hearts. Jamie stared at it. He could leave, log out, delete the app. But something about that sentence felt like a hand held out in the dark. He typed, Starry-Eyed 87. Guess I missed the sleep train again. MidnightInk. Same. I swear it only shows up when I don't need it. I'm Eli, by the way. Not my real name. Just something close. Jamie paused. Something close. That was oddly comforting. Starry-Eyed 87. Then I'm Jamie, and that is my real name. I'm bad at mystery. MidnightInk. Honesty is a good mystery, too. They talked for 2 hours. Nothing deep. Nothing heavy. Just words. Safe ones. Floating between 2 strangers who didn't know each other but somehow got each other. When Jamie finally closed the app, it was past 1 a.m. He still didn't feel like sleeping. But for the first time in weeks, he didn't feel quite so alone. Jamie didn't open Hearth the next night. He told himself he was tired, that he didn't want to get too attached to a stranger, that this was probably a weird thing to be doing anyway. But when he woke up groggy and unrested the next morning, his first thought wasn't about coffee or work. It was, did MidnightInk message again? By the 3rd night, curiosity won. Jamie opened the app. The familiar dark interface greeted him, gentle on the eyes. A blinking cursor sat patiently in their chat box. Waiting. No new messages. He felt oddly disappointed. He hovered for a while. Typed, deleted, typed again. Starry-Eyed 87. So the sleep train never showed up again. This time, the reply came almost immediately. MidnightInk. You missed it too? I'm shocked. I was hoping you'd come back. Jamie blinked. That tiny sentence warmed more than it should have. Starry-Eyed 87. Wasn't sure if I'd get addicted. Guess I am. MidnightInk. Addiction is a strong word. Let's go with comfortably attached. Starry-Eyed 87. You always talk like you're writing a book. MidnightInk. Maybe I am. That night, their conversation spilled past the usual lightness. Jamie mentioned he worked in publishing, nothing glamorous, mostly editing catalog text and reviewing copy for back covers. He shared how he often stayed late just to avoid the awkward silence of coming home to an empty apartment. Eli, or MidnightInk, as Jamie still kept thinking of him, didn't share much about work. Just that he was freelance, lived on caffeine and chaos, and spent most of his time making things that didn't matter until they suddenly did. Jamie didn't press. He liked the way Eli wrote things. Wry, soft, a little too honest in that way people only get when they know they might never meet. At one point, Jamie wrote, Starry-Eyed 87, what do you look like? A long pause. Then, MidnightInk, like someone who's been through 3 cups of coffee and a mild identity crisis. You? Jamie laughed aloud. Starry-Eyed 87. Like someone who's still trying to remember how to smile in photos. Midnight Ink. Bet you have a good smile, though. One of those slow ones. Rare, but worth the wait. Jamie didn't know what to say to that. So he just typed, Starry-eyed 87. You're really good at this. Midnight Ink. At what? Starry-eyed 87. Making strangers feel like maybe they're not so alone. The typing indicator blinked, then disappeared. For a full minute, Jamie stared at the empty screen. Had he said too much? But then it reappeared. Midnight Ink. I could say the same to you, Jamie. Jamie had started to look forward to the nights. Not because of the silence, or the quiet hum of the city outside his window, but because of the blinking cursor on hearth. The tiny green light that meant Midnight Ink was online. Somehow, they had become a habit. Not every night, not always deep, but dependable, warm. Like a blanket Jamie didn't know he needed, until it was already wrapped around him. On Friday, Jamie messaged first. Starry-eyed 87. Tell me something random. Midnight Ink. I once bought an entire cake, just so I could eat the corner frosting flowers. Regret level 0. Jamie smiled. Starry-eyed 87. That's chaotic and kind of brilliant. Midnight Ink. Thank you. Now your turn. Starry-eyed 87. I still sleep with a light on. Not because I'm scared of the dark. Just, I like not feeling invisible. There was a pause. Then, Midnight Ink. That makes perfect sense. Light makes you feel seen. That's not childish. That's human. Jamie leaned back, his chest oddly warm. Starry-eyed 87. You're really good at listening, you know. Midnight Ink. You're easy to listen to. They talked about everything and nothing. Favorite breakfasts, the worst jobs they'd ever had. Jamie, sorting returns at a bookstore during the holiday rush. Eli, dressing up as a mall mascot during summer. At one point, Jamie asked, Starry-eyed 87. Ever think we'd be friends if we met in real life? Midnight Ink. Yeah, but I don't think I'd be brave enough to talk to you. Starry-eyed 87. That's funny. I was about to say the same thing. Midnight Ink. Maybe we'd sit near each other on a train, both looking out the window, and never realize we were looking for the same thing. Jamie's breath caught. He didn't reply for a minute. Starry-eyed 87. What are you looking for? There was a long pause. Then, Midnight Ink. I'm not sure, but talking to you feels like I'm getting closer to it. Later that night, after they said goodnight, Jamie stared at the last message. He didn't save the chat logs. He didn't have to. They live somewhere softer now, under his skin, behind his ribs. He turned off the lamp, but left the screen on, just in case. Jamie didn't believe in fate, but that morning something tugged at him. He'd taken a different train. His usual one had delays. The air smelled like rain and fresh newspaper ink. The platform unusually quiet. A few steps ahead of him, someone dropped their sketchpad, paper fluttering like wings. Jamie stooped to help, fingers brushing a loose sheet just before the wind could carry it away. It was a pencil drawing. A side profile of a man, soft expression, stargazing. It looked familiar. Thanks, the stranger said, crouching beside him. His voice was low, a little rough, like it wasn't used to speaking early in the morning. Jamie looked up. Messy brown hair, under a beanie. Oversized hoodie. Ink smudge on one cheek. Something about him tugged at the edge of Jamie's memory, but it didn't quite click. No problem, Jamie replied, awkward as ever. Nice drawing. The guy gave a small smile just the corner of his mouth. It's no one real. Just someone I think about a lot. Jamie didn't know how to respond to that, so he just nodded, heart weirdly tight. The train arrived. They got into different cars. He didn't even ask his name. That night, Jamie messaged Midnight Ink like usual. Starry-eyed 87. I saw someone today. Just a moment. But I can't stop thinking about it. Midnight Ink. Must have been a good moment. What were they like? Starry-eyed 87. Quiet. Creative. Kind eyes. Little messy. Like, they live in their own world. MidnightInk. Sounds like someone you'd write a whole book about. Starry-eyed 87. I wouldn't know where to start. MidnightInk. Start with the feeling. That's the part that matters. Jamie bit his lip. Starry-eyed 87. Do you ever think about what it would be like to meet? Another pause. Jamie could picture him wherever he was, staring at his screen like Jamie was now. MidnightInk. Every night. It started with a dream. Jamie barely remembered the details. Just the feeling. Warmth. Fingertips brushing his cheek. A voice murmuring something about stars and late trains. He woke up with a hollow chest and a strange ache he couldn't name. He reached for his phone without thinking. One new message. MidnightInk. Couldn't sleep. Thought of you. That ever happen? Jamie's hand stilled. They'd never said it out loud. Never given it a name. But that sentence, that one line, hit him like a heartbeat skipping. He typed back. Starry-eyed 87. Yeah. Happens more than I want to admit lately. A pause. Then, MidnightInk. I know this is going to sound insane, but I think I'm catching feelings for someone I've never met. Jamie sat with that. The words felt dangerous and thrilling and true. Starry-eyed 87. Maybe it's not insane. Maybe the most honest versions of us exist in this little screen. MidnightInk. You're too poetic to be an editor. Starry-eyed 87. You're too tender to be a chaos gremlin. MidnightInk. I want to see you. Jamie's breath hitched. He stared at the message. Reread it. Wondered if he was imagining the way it made his stomach twist and flutter. Then came another message. MidnightInk. Not like right now. I mean someday. I want to know what your laugh sounds like. What kind of face you make when you're shy. I want to walk next to you, not just behind glass. Jamie didn't know what to say, but he knew how he felt, like someone had reached into him and lit a candle in a place that had been dark for a very long time. He typed slowly. Starry-eyed 87. I want that too. Later, lying in bed, Jamie played their conversation over in his head. He thought about the guy on the train again. That soft smile. The sketchbook. The voice. No, it couldn't be. Still, a part of him whispered, what if? Jamie almost messaged him 3 times that week. Each time he typed the words, do you take the Green Line train in the mornings? And each time he deleted them. It was stupid. Impossible. The city was too big, the odds too small. The guy on the train was just someone with kind eyes and ink-stained fingers. That didn't mean he was MidnightInk. Except, he'd noticed another sketch in the man's folder when he picked it up. A quick pencil outline of a man curled up by a window, legs drawn close, hood up, eyes down. It looked like Jamie. And Jamie had described that exact pose weeks ago in one of their chats. He spent that Thursday evening rereading old messages. The things MidnightInk had said. The warmth. The details. The way he spoke, like he already knew Jamie inside out. And that was the problem. Because if he did know him in real life, why hadn't he said anything? The answer stung more than he expected. Maybe MidnightInk didn't like what he saw. Maybe this, the comfort, the closeness, only worked because it wasn't real. Jamie stood up too fast from the couch, knocking over his tea. It spilled across the floor in a slow, blooming stain. He stared at it, numb. That night, he didn't open Hearth. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, waiting for the green notification to ping. It didn't. Maybe MidnightInk was waiting to. Maybe they were both too scared to say it first. The next morning, Jamie opened the app on impulse. One new message. MidnightInk. You okay? Then another, sent an hour later. MidnightInk. You don't have to talk. Just let me know you're there. Jamie stared at the screen. Typed. Starry-eyed 87. I'm here, just thinking. MidnightInk. Thinking is dangerous. Want to talk about it? Jamie's fingers hovered. Starry-eyed 87. I think I saw you. In real life. A few days ago. There it was. Out. His heart pounded. The typing bubble appeared, flickered, disappeared. Came back. MidnightInk. Yeah, I thought it might have been you too. Jamie's chest tightened. He reread the message 3 times. MidnightInk. Yeah, I thought it might have been you too. The silence that followed was different this time. It wasn't empty. It was heavy. Waiting. Unfolding. Jamie's fingers trembled as he typed. Starry-eyed 87. Why didn't you say anything? MidnightInk. I was scared. What if I was wrong? Or worse, what if I was right and it ruined everything? Jamie let out a shaky breath. Starry-eyed 87. I thought the same thing. There was a pause, then. MidnightInk. I drew you, you know. Before I even realized it was you. You wrote once that you sit with your knees pulled up, hoodie on, staring out the window. It stuck with me. I sketched it that night. When I saw you at the station, it felt like I'd walked into my own drawing. Jamie didn't know how to respond to that. Not right away. He paced his apartment, heart loud in his ears. The walls felt too close, the air too thin. This was happening. The thing he never thought possible. Finally, he sat back down. Starry-eyed 87. So what now? MidnightInk. Would it be crazy to say I want to see you again? Like actually see you? No apps. No usernames. Just you. Jamie's throat tightened. Starry-eyed 87. Maybe crazy. But I want that too. MidnightInk. Saturday. 2 p.m. The cafe near the bookstore. I'll bring the sketchbook. You bring the hoodie. Jamie stared at the screen. A laugh escaped. Soft, nervous, real. Starry-eyed 87. Deal. The day came faster than he expected. Jamie spent too long choosing a shirt. Too long fixing his hair only to mess it up again. He nearly bailed 3 times, but still, he went. The cafe was cozy. Light streamed through wide windows. The air smelled like cinnamon and ink. He stepped inside and saw him. Wesley. No beanie this time. His brown hair was slightly tousled. Eyes tired but warm. The sketchbook sat open in front of him, flipped to a page Jamie already knew. A boy by the window. Hoodie. Eyes distant. Heart exposed. Wesley looked up. Their eyes met. And he smiled. Small. Nervous. But real. Hi, he said. I'm Wesley. Jamie sat down. Jamie. They didn't need to say nice to meet you. Because in truth, they already had. For a while, everything felt like a dream. The kind you don't want to wake up from. Jamie and Wesley met again the next weekend. And again the week after that. They shared pastries at the cafe. Walked through quiet streets. Talked about books and art and all the little things they'd only typed before. In person, Wesley was even warmer. Softer around the edges. He touched things gently. Coffee cups, pages, Jamie's sleeve when he laughed. But with each smile, Jamie felt something tightening in his chest. Because this wasn't behind a screen anymore. This was real. Which meant it could break. The spiral started with something small. A coworker saw them together. Made a comment. Wesley had reached across the table to brush a crumb from Jamie's cheek. Later that night, Jamie lay in bed, thoughts racing. What if this was just a phase for Wesley? What if the charm faded? What if Jamie wasn't enough? Too quiet? Too careful? Too used to being alone? He didn't open heart that night. Or the night after. Wesley messaged. Wesley. Hey. You okay? Wesley. Can I see you? Jamie didn't answer. He typed out replies. Deleted them. He wanted to explain. But he didn't know how to say, I'm scared I'll mess this up before it even begins. By the 3rd day, Wesley stopped messaging. And Jamie felt it. That stillness. The awful quiet of a connection fraying. On Thursday night, Jamie sat alone in his apartment, the lights dimmed, the weight of his silence pressing on his chest. He opened Hearth for the first time in days. There was one message. Wesley/MidnightInk. I don't know what's going on in your head, Jamie. But I miss talking to you. I miss the you who told me he sleeps with the light on. The one who said he didn't feel invisible when we talked. I miss us, even if that was just a few nights of magic. I'll stop texting now. But if you ever want to come back, text me when you're home. Jamie stared at the message for a long time. Then he stood, grabbed his coat, and left his apartment. He didn't go anywhere in particular. He just walked through the city, under the streetlights, past strangers and store windows and couples leaning into each other like they belonged. By the time he came back, his fingers were cold and his heart was thudding. He unlocked his phone, opened their chat, and finally typed, Jamie, or maybe I'll just stay. Wesley opened the door with wide eyes and unbrushed hair, like he hadn't expected anyone, much less him. Jamie stood there, a little out of breath, rain misting on his coat sleeves. His heart pounded like it was trying to speak before his mouth could. I'm sorry, Jamie said quietly. For ghosting, for freaking out, for everything. Wesley blinked, then let out a soft laugh. I figured it was one of those. He stepped aside. Come in. Jamie hesitated for just a second before crossing the threshold. Wesley's apartment was warm, low lighting, stacks of sketchbooks, teacups on the windowsill, a cat-shaped pillow on the couch. It looked exactly how Jamie had imagined. It smelled like him too. Ink, vanilla, and something else Jamie couldn't name. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Wesley spoke. You didn't ruin anything, you know. Jamie looked down. I was scared. I still am. I know, Wesley said. I am too. Jamie finally looked up and found nothing but softness in Wesley's eyes. Jamie swallowed. I didn't know if this version of me, the real, messy, awkward version, would be enough outside the screen. Wesley's voice was barely above a whisper. You were always real to me, Jamie. Even in text, even in silence. I didn't fall for your messages. I fell for you. Jamie took a step forward. And what if I fall too fast? Then I'll catch you. It was so simple. So certain. Like it was the only answer there could ever be. Jamie reached out, his fingers grazing Wesley's. Their hands linked. And suddenly, everything else faded. They sat on the couch, knees brushing, Wesley's sketchbook open between them. Jamie flipped through the pages, each sketch a moment captured, the boy in the window, the train station glance, a profile he recognized as himself drawn in dozens of little ways. You really were drawing me this whole time, he whispered. I couldn't stop, Wesley said. I didn't want to. Jamie looked up, eyes wide. I want to stay tonight, he said. Wesley didn't say anything, just leaned in slowly, carefully, until their lips met. It wasn't urgent, or practiced. It was soft, real, a little shaky. Jamie melted into it, let himself be held, let himself be seen. Jamie had never stayed the night at someone's place before. Not like this. Not with the lights low, the windows open to soft city sounds, and the warmth of another body beside him making everything feel less lonely. They lay in bed, facing each other. Wesley's hand rested gently on Jamie's waist, thumb brushing his shirt hem in slow, absent circles. Their legs tangled easily, like they'd done this 100 times before, even if it was the first. Jamie's heart felt too full for words. Wesley was watching him, not intensely, just softly, like he was memorizing. Jamie whispered, "What are you thinking?" Wesley smiled, "That you're even more beautiful up close." Jamie flushed, hiding half his face under the pillow. "I'm really not," he mumbled. "You are," Wesley said, "especially when you don't know it." Jamie reached for him then. No overthinking, no hesitation. Their lips met again, slower this time, deeper. Hands roamed with care, over shoulders, down backs, across skin warm from touch and trust. There was nothing rushed, No pressure, just the quiet, sacred feeling of two people finally saying yes with more than just words. Jamie's shirt came off first. Wesley kissed the space between his collarbones. Jamie exhaled shakily, head tilting back, hands clutching the sheets. "I've never," he began. Wesley paused. "We don't have to." "I want to," Jamie said. "I just want it to be slow." Wesley nodded. "Then slow it is." What followed wasn't perfect. It wasn't choreographed or cinematic. It was real, gentle, breathless, with laughter between kisses and whispered questions like, "Is this okay?" "And more?" "And you feel so good." When it was over, they lay together, skin against skin, hearts still racing. Jamie buried his face in Wesley's shoulder. "This feels unreal." Wesley kissed his forehead. "It's real," he said. "I've got the freckles on your shoulder memorized to prove it." Jamie smiled sleepily. "I never thought I'd get this." "You did," Wesley murmured. "You just didn't know it yet." Hours later, as they drifted into sleep, Wesley reached for his phone. One last message sent. "Wesley, text me when you're home." Jamie peeked open one eye and said softly, "I already am."